our dough, chaps. We've done our dough.
Hello and welcome back to week 35 of odds. So later on we're going to talk about whoever this guy is, one of the prime Philadelphia Eagles, and this character who is stuck in a back to school pose, but we know that he's the coach of Kansas City Chiefs and that they are maybe going to go, what is it, like 3 in a row, 5 out of 6. I am going to bet on this, and I'm just going on pure intuition, but it's exciting and they're about even money, so I'm actually genuinely pumped up for this NFL. Kicking off this week. So last week we inched our way to $43.64. I thought it might have been more if Dragoon had managed to get second. It would have kicked over the 50. We got money back from Inkaruna. That was good each way. The trifecta in the Mary Eliza race, that ran second. Emphasized was scratched at the last minute, which was our big sort of hope. It's running this week, so I'm very keen to see how it goes. However, we just sort of inched our way there. We didn't really kick it into that 60-70 category, which would have got the profit up. We are now at 8% returns on racing, negative 3% on sport, which we missed by 1 point. Franz Wagner got 24 points, didn't get 25. Both of our other guys, Banchero and Aiton, got the 6 rebounds. And it would have been a big payday, but he missed by 1. So anyway, we get 20 in bonus bets, which I've split into 10 $2 bets. And I've used across Melbourne, Sydney, and like one race at Rapa. So that may still deliver us more, but it was a bit of a blow. So overall, 5.4%, and the ASICs has now surged to 10.4. Yeah. So we are competing with a rampant stock market, which makes the game a little bit more exciting now. So to get back to an ahead position, which we've been in for 31 out of the 34 weeks thus far, need to get back about 100 in racing, which we've done before, but it's rare, and also 90 in sport. So the aforementioned AFL multi is really tracked to those odds. And then racing, I put in a few outsiders to try and get to this $100 mark. Not that we want to be greedy or that we want to do too much in 1 week, but with the extra bonus bets in store, it's possible to ramp things up a little bit. So anyway, just going over that again, $44 back last week, just missed in the NBA. Caulfield, it's a great meeting. The Caulfield Guineas Preludes. Sydney's got some good races. Rapa's a good card. The problem, I was hoping to outlay a few bonus bets there, but the more I looked at it, the more I thought they were too difficult betting-wise. Found one race I liked, but the rest were not so. There were some big favourites there. La Creek was one of them. It just didn't really flow. So anyway, that's parked. But we'll start with the racing, as always, straight into Caulfield. So race 1, 1,600 metres, 74 grade. What stood out here was that One Long Day was very good last time. It was posted wide. It still kept on surging in the straight. Just lost to Smoking Princess. It is up in weight, but it's down in class. And this is a very beatable bunch of horses. The question is, has it been up for too long? Is it going to be a bit flat? I think from barrier 4, it's going to go forward and get a pretty decent run. And the $4 is pretty generous, I think, for a good horse. For second and third, I don't mind Thunder Point. It hasn't been that far away recently, and it's almost got a 50% place strike rate. Wasn't far behind Unseen Ruler. I think it could be the kind of horse that, likes Caulfield, goes forward. So from barrier 5, I'd like to have something for the place with a bonus bet on that. And then each way on One Long Day, probably $2 to win, sort of $1.50 the place scenario. And then Delicious Tycoon is a pretty reasonable horse, could run into a place. So Quinella for 1 One Long Day, 5 Thunder Point, and 8 Delicious Tycoon. Otherwise, it's not a really remarkable race. I just am intrigued whether One Long Day could go and win easily, could go and sit 3rd or 4th, and then sort of kick clear, or whether it would just sort of go into the straight and wilt that the toll of the weeks have taken. But apart from that, there's nothing really, bar Dubai, That's very interesting. It's had 7 runs. It's won only one of them. It won its last start of the 2500 by 10 lengths. And if you click on the replay on the tab website, it just says error, can't view it. So obviously you can view it. If I had more, well, I was already stretched for time, but if I had more willpower, I would have found it on some international site. But the point being, that's being run over 2500 and won by 10 lengths, yes, but that was at the end of like a 5-run prep where it had built up all that momentum. Now it's first up here and it's paying $4.20. It's first up over 1600 and it's $4.22 favourite. I don't like international horses at Caulfield at the best of times, but that's not even at its best distance range. So I'm going to take that on. And then Liberami, it's 1-2 from 10. It just, I mean, it looks too obvious for one long day, but that's what I'm seeing and that's what we're going to do. So that's race 1. Race 2, Sportsbet Superbowl Monday handicap, 2,000 metres. The thing that stood out here is that Emphasized was scratched last week. It's back for this. I loved it then and I love it now. It had great form, won over that 1,700 by 4 lengths. Often horses that are played scratches and they run again sort of don't hold up. So that's always a question mark. But other horses like Cat Noir, I think that got the benefit of a good speed last time. Also in that first race, Rubology had the same thing where it was the beneficiary of sitting midfield. The leader sort of went for it on the turn. It just gobbled up what was left. So I think Cat Noir is in that boat in the second. Thorin should go forward. Inevitable Award had every chance last time, didn't really do anything. I'd be expecting Perfect Play to run quite well. That held second behind Kings Valley, and then Miss Tazi was in third, which it did a good job to sort of hold off. So from barrier 3, that's pretty perfect, 2 kilo claim. So I'll be going each way on Emphasize, maybe a bit more of a wing bet, maybe $2.50, like in terms of units for the win. And then a Quinella for 2, 3, and 10. Just throwing in case, Caulfield throws up the same sort of leader, running well scenario. So that does that. And then that horse called Lodbrok, Ragnar Lodbrok out of Vikings, great name, but I think more suited to the country at this stage. Race 3, 2,000 metres. Not a good betting race. Very volatile. Shire did win well last time, but the same few horses that came around the turn in the lead sort of fought it out. So I question whether they had a bit of advantage. Maybe it was run to suit. From barrier 11, it's going to have to sort of cross and get a position. Doesn't sound good to me at all. But then nothing in this race really did. Mezzabine is interesting as the Auckland Cup winner that's come across. Likes to run on from barrier 1. Is probably going to get into a bad spot. Aurora Symphony totally out of form. Stockman is your sort of classic wet track horse. Touristic, second up, been out of form for a while. It's a lot of horses that are out of form. So the thing that jumps out at me is we're looking at Berkshire Breeze. Yes, it did sort of flop in those Group 3s before it ran in the Caulfield Cup, but when it was running in races of this quality, sort of at this time last year, it was winning pretty easily. So yes, barrier 12, but in a pretty forgettable field, $5.50, I think that's the each way go. So each way on Berkshire Breeze. Grand Pierre is in good form, could do something. United Nations, when I went through them all and I was like, what am I sort of overlooking? It's got no form lately, but if you go back in the prep and you have a look, it was running, ran second in a Group 2 at Caulfield last prep behind Military Mission. And before that, second at Moonee Valley behind Duke of Hastings. At the time, that was pretty decent. Third behind Mostly Cloudy. If it can get back to that, that's a tremendous value at 15. So bonus bet on there. And then maybe a trifecta with Berkshire Breeze and United Nations to Rove. And then the field for third. Something might come out of that, but a pretty forgettable race. So having something there anyway. But moving on to the Blue Diamond Prelude, race 4. So this one is quite interesting and where to begin. 2 massive winners here from last time out. So Aleppo Pine looked really good, winning at Ballarat, sort of kicked clear. I question sort of what it beat. It won by a few lengths, so that's $2.50 here. Field of Play sort of did the same thing at Moonee Valley. It rounded them up around the turn really easily, went for home very early. The jock looked like he just knew he was on an amazing horse, and that's $3.60. So I'd rather be on Field of Play. And then out of these other ones, Menshevik got going late last time. I don't know how you get held up in a 6-horse field, but it managed to. and ran on pretty well at the end. So I think at $19, that's value. So, but a bonus bet for the win there. Autumn Mysteries run on really strongly both times. I doubt in this race he might get that same speed, and then barrier 13 he's got to sort of go back and sort of wait for luck. So leave that. Typing Star looked a bit flat last time. A lot of these first starters down the bottom are hard to know. Devil Knight had some good trials. Was pretty untouched in that win at Rose Hill, like that trial win at Rose Hill. So that's pretty impressive. Katsumi Orochi, who knows, but that's out of Maurice. Lord Coda's out of Zoo Star, so they're possibilities. They'll get forgotten about in the market, which is always good. So don't forget these first stars. And then Victory Tune, that actually started at 5.50 in the race where it came nowhere. It looked very flat behind Miss Celine, but who knows, sort of in like 3 months' time, things could have changed dramatically. So that's paying 13. It probably should be paying more, but still, that's something to keep an eye on. So I'll be each way on field of play. Quinella for 3 field of play, 7 Menshevik, and then all the bottom runners, 11 Devil Knight, 12 Katsumi Orochi, 13 Lord Coda, 14 Victory Tune. It'd be a good race to watch that one. Race 5. Well, same with here. For a man smarter than me, I've got good info that My Gladiola is a sectional star. So I'll be on that. Sort of say no more. There are a few interesting ones. I think Palm Angel had the right run when it won first up, and then last time it was a bit soft, and I don't think that the $8 is that encouraging. Miss Celine likes to run on. Barrier 1, it's going to be tricky. Wilshire Square's been consistent. It wasn't that far behind My Gladiola last time. Like the way Gin Spirit won in Adelaide. Very assertive. Took over on the turn, ran clear. I think that's a really good place bet and a really good rover for trifectas. So take My Gladiola number 1, Gin Spirit number 5 as roving bankers. Expulsion looked flat last time. Odessa was pretty decent. It wasn't a bad 5th listed race behind Tremonti. It's, won a trial, second in a trial. Paying 34. That's pretty crazy. So Odessa's definitely one you could have a few bucks on for the place or have something for the win. First starters, number 9, Xenia, good trials. Exit, no trials, but still could be something. Queen Christine. Christine the Queen's a band that I like. One of the songs I really like, so that's got a good sentimental suggestion there going on for me. And then Super Grace. I really like it when on the Thursday and the Friday, you see on the tote that horses have been backed in. Like this was like $2.50, $3 for the win with the money that's in the pool already. So someone likes that because that's about 70 to 1 currently fixed. So we'll definitely have something on Super Grace for the place and follow that money trail. And yeah, there'll be some a trifecta with 1 My Gladiola and 5 Gin Spirit to rove with the field to go around it, just in case My Gladiola runs into trouble and doesn't win. And then a big Quinella, sort of around 5 Gin Spirit, 8 Odessa, 9, 10, 12, 13. It'll all be in the slide at the end. Race 6, the Rubiton Stakes, 1100 meters. This one, what should happen is that Insurrection should go forward from barrier 2. So should Marble Band of Brothers in barrier 1, so they should be on pace. Ray Magnerio and Mahaba should be sort of in that middle section, ready to chase, and then Airman and Nisario should be running on. Marble Nine's got a good first up record. This is tough. Title Fight is a horse that I like, but this is pretty rich. So not sure there. Mahaba was really, I don't know whether it will win this race, but if you look at that second that it ran at Ascot behind Overpass, it made up so much ground from an impossible position where you look at the replay, you think this can't run second, and it somehow does. It just eats up the ground against a good horse like Overpass who, did massive things in Sydney. So that's really become a top-line sprinter that's going to win a lot of races. I'm probably talking myself more into it now. Just at the time I was sort of like, this is, first up. It might not be fully wound up. It's a bit of a tricky feel, but maybe the 380 is really good actually. So something on Mahaba, that's becoming a really good sprinter. Ray Magnerio ran it to, 0.1 of a length recently. Might be tricky. Caulfield barrier 10. It does like the track, but yeah, it's tricky for the exotics because they'll be running on. Band of Brothers has been really impressive the way that's been fighting on for those placings. $10 is value. Insurrection will go forward, should get a good run, but 420 seems short in a field like this. And Airman's dropping in grade. That's just, be running against a lot of really good horses. Overpass. Marzu, which is always running in those Group 2s in Sydney. McHale, Jolly Star. So watch with caution. Not really sure exotic-wise, but yeah, Mahaba is the future for sure. Race 7. A few of the stars from last autumn are regrouping. Evaporate, Angel Capital, Katoggio. Totally over this horse. It went up to one on Melbourne Cup Day, one of those classic races where you just sort of can't predict it. Anyway, it's been running well since, and I was impressed by what it did at the Gold Coast. So that comes down to sort of like the horse with the race fitness, the match fitness. So I don't mind getting on that early while Evaporate and Angel Capital are still sort of getting their things together. Katoggio might go forward, make its own luck, and be able to just boot clear. Jenny the Fox, like I mentioned in the previous race, this is $13 fixed. It's currently $1.40 for the win and $1 for the play. So someone's unloaded, not huge money, but big money on this thing. And the way that it won last time, basically coming from last at Cranbourne, running the field and winning ease down, wild, absolutely wild. So something with a bonus bet on Jenny the Fox as an informed horse, something for the win on Katoggio, and then bonus bets back if it loses. Evaporate probably should be the horse that is just, picking up that top level form the quickest. So I'll do a Quinella with that as a standout, and then Katoggio and Jenny the Fox to be the roamers per se. But yeah, the bonus bet for the win on Jenny the Fox, win on Katoggio. That's all I sort of really want to do there. The rest can sort of split themselves out. Race A, the JRA plate, I should say, over 1,600 metres. Not a great betting race. Hard to know. Wings of Song is right into my black book. Didn't win last time. I just think that Marble Arch, who it competes against again here, I thought that Marble Arch sort of had the better credentials that day, but I wouldn't say that's going to be a better horse. I think Wings of Song will be. So that's going to come from barrier 12, and Cross will be up on the pace. Chorlton Lane's really in form. It's probably its last chance to win a race, a group race, before the real Autumn Stars come back. It just might have the match fitness to sort of take this out. Duke-Decessor Warmonger want longer. Munamek wants Flemington. Torrenzino, it's not really a winner. Buffalo River probably wants wet ground as usual. Windstorm, great value, likes Caulfield, 4 starts here, 2 wins. Wins 1 in 4. It's not often, but it was a good 4th last time. Not to overlook. Elphinstone's in good form. For me, it's a Wings of Song, Chorlton Lane scenario. And then it's a good watch race. It's good to see how these horses are resuming, betting-wise. Unless you see market moves on the day, I'd sort of just be having a basic interest here. But Wings of Song, definitely a horse to follow. Race 9, the Group 1 Orr Stakes. This is massive. This is one of the best fields I've seen lately because there's so many different form lines. So Private Life's bringing that 2-year-old form from last prep. Now it's a 3-year-old, but it's bringing those form lines from Caulfield. Last time we over 1,600. Super Smink from WA. Samana, that Queensland form, was a decent third of the Gold Coast behind Zerastro, but ran on strongly on the fence. Schwartz has been reborn. It was sort of a bit of a good horse, non-winner. The way that it won at Moonee Valley, and I know that a lot of horses win as leaders at Moonee Valley, and it enhances them and makes them look a lot better. But the way that it blew that field away, and Stapati's in good form, but Schwartz just annihilated them. So 10 starts, 5 wins, $6. Very interesting when that goes to lead. Freedom Rally brings that sort of, I say this a lot, but that sort of average Joe sort of listed race, group race, run second, run fifth sort of deal. That'll be primed to win a race like that up in Queensland, but, difficult here. Another Will from barrier 3 should go sit 3rd, 4th. Great form from last prep. Started, very short a lot of the time. Artie, it's in great form, keeps on placing 3-3-3-2-2 pinstripes. Probably good value here, but Group 1 winner. I do believe yes, was on it that day. Who knows? It should go midfield here from barrier 10. should be a chance. Southport Tycoon needs the speed on, but can really accelerate late where it needs to. And then Mr. Brightside, I mean, just class all over. So interesting, so interesting. Brightside 250 first up. I know that it loves the track and the distance. 12 starts for 6 wins and 4 placings. Is it too short? Maybe just. Another will, certainly not in the same echelon, but it should get a good run. It should be primed for first up. Pinstripe's probably value, but might be a length or two off them. Schwartz is the unknown. Private Life, I know that it sort of led and dictated in that Caulfield Guineas. So a really good race to watch, tricky race to bet in. And there's no bonus bets back for any of these each ways unless you're using bet returns on Sportsbet or something else. But the tab regular race 1 to 6, Sportsbet race 1 to 7 doesn't apply. So probably for me a bit of a watch race. I just like to see how these horses compete, and I'd like to back Samana, but I just don't think it's up to some of these, even at the 40-1-7 for the place. So bit of a skip. And then race 10 is another really good race. Kirribilli looked good in its 2 runs. Reluctantly Charmed made up massive ground down the straight at Flemington last time. That's something to keep in mind for the future. Still paying 16, so a bonus bet straight on that for me. And then Certain Rise looked really good in its wins. To be or not to be, as we know through the spring, had a bit of bad luck. Here, barrier 4 is drawn pretty perfectly. I want to have that each way just because it's a horse I like. Drifting sort of flopped in that Bellatrix Star race, but before that looked really good at Caulfield, being GG's Miss Truth. That's paying 6 for barrier 1. Probably another good race to watch. I would have something on Reluctantly Charmed because of the odds. Looks like a horse that has a lot of ability. So 420 for the place is enticing. Some of the other ones, Lafayette, yeah, there's a few you can make a case for. Arabian Summer's obviously the favourite, comes down from winning at the third at the Sunshine Coast and then winning at the Gold Coast before that. For me, just each one to be or not to be, and then we'll just see how the other ones fall. From Caulfield, we're going to go straight to Te Rapa. There are a lot of races here I looked at, but then sort of couldn't arrive at anything. Sort of jumping, there's 9 races. We'll sort of start at race 3. That was a bit too open. Race 4, the Phillies Classic over 2,000 metres. Like Lucy did win well last time, and it was coming to the end of its run at the end, and the ground was being eaten up. It's got to now transition from a 1,600 metre winner to a 2,000 metre winner. Different ball game. Love Beal, number 9, had only 2 runs just in basic maidens, but it's been running on well from back in the field. Well bred out of Somerville and Oh Lovely. I just think that in these kind of races, and what I mean by that is where it's over a bit of a long distance, 2,000 metres and above, where you've got lightly raced horses that are sort of only finding their feet, often the form can be a bit misleading. So a lot of these are going to improve dramatically. I was going to take a punt on Love Beal. Maybe like a Lucy's more of a 1,600 metre horse. Could win easily, but I'll just, with the bonus bets in the pocket, have a go at that. Race 5, the Carapiro Classic over 1,600. Again, big field was sort of hard to line up. The favourite had a wide barrier. Tricky. Race 6, 2,000 metres, the Herbie Dyke Stakes. La Creek's a solid favourite. I looked at the outsiders, couldn't really arrive at anything. Just a note that Sharp and Smart, used to be a top line to the Derby horse, and now it's fallen on hard times. So horse to watch. Race 7, the Waikato Guineas. Again, looked at the outsiders here, couldn't really arrive at anything. Tuxedo probably wins at the 230, or probably would want to be on it. Race 8, the BCD Group Sprint. Grail Seeker's become an amazing winner. 2 back-to-back Group 1s, and the first paid $32. And then last time it paid $4.5. So the way that it won, it looks like it'll do it again. Looked at the others. Sacred Satono is probably value, but it did look at sort of wilted last time. Here to Shocks over from Australia. I just couldn't really get any confidence about backing against this favourite. So Going to leave it. Let's see if Grail Seeker wins. And then race 9, the Memorial Bars. Again, big field was a bit too tricky. So just wanted to give that overview of it. I wanted to bet more at Te Rapa, but the situation didn't really allow for it. So then getting on to Randwick, skipping race 1, skipping race 2. Race 3, listed race over 1,000, the long road plate. The favourite's Extractor at the moment, number 1. It's got barrier 13. It's going to be tricky. It's going to be very tricky for this to sort of come across and try and get a spot. And it's a hotly contested race. Chugui ran a decent second last time. This is the second favourite. It's had it frosted. It's not really a sire I love. That wilted again to second. It wasn't really charging to the line. So I'm just going to bypass both of those favourites. If you go down to number 5, Anarchist, go Waterhouse Stable. It's won 2 trials really well, barrier 6. I'd rather be on that at 850. Think it's better value. When I'll have a look at number 8, Brat Summer. Barrier 14, 80 to 1. And it's won a trial by 3 lengths. And I watched the trial and it was pretty untouched. I think 80 and 15 for the place. So that's a definite $2 bonus bet on Brat Summer, just to see. And then for a Quinella, we'll do Anarchist, number 5, Brat Summer, number 8. I think most of these first starters or lolly race horses down the bottom. So 11, Bella Zane, 12, Feel the Breeze, 13, Kerber, 14, Lady Talaya, 15, Red Hot Rosie. Even Red Hot Rosie, first starter, $34, won a trial at Rosehill by 1.5 lengths. It's a race of great value. I'm sure everyone will find something different, but very good betting race. The favourites are vulnerable. Lots of outsiders get in there. That's good stuff. Race 4 is a skip. That's only a 78 grade. And then race 5, this is where we started to, our funds sort of became dry. So it was a bit tricky to figure out how to allocate this. But race 5, favourites, It's a Knockout. I liked it initially. Just thought maybe it's not too short, but it's a competitive race. Maybe it's a bit vulnerable. Fugitiva, number 8, 11 starts, 3 wins and 5 placings. Ran really well in the recent prep. Second behind Kingston Charm. Ran a close-up 6th in a 20-horse race coming from the back of the field, which I always appreciate. Won a trial recently by 2 lengths. Don't mind that at $18 for a bonus bet, so $2 on that. And then a Quinella for 6, It's a Knockout. 8, Fugitiva. And number 4, Ada Vinci. Before its 2 unplaced runs, it was sort of winning listed races. So that's a definite one to throw in as well. So Quinella 4, 6 and 8. That's race 5. Race 6, wanted to have something, but that's a skip. Race 7, the Inglis Millenium. This one's interesting. Cobra Club, Rivellino, and then Price Tag all have good form. I'd like to bypass the favourites and have something on Artistic Venture, number 14. Made up really good ground last time. Ran 4th behind Within the Law. Wasn't really pushed out either. It's going to go back again, but I think it'll make up a lot of ground. And it's again, someone's put some money on it early. It's $1.30 on the tote, so something each way on Artistic Venture. Bella Zane's also been nommed for this race, as well as I think it was race 3 or 4. So that's interesting. Open Secret, I backed last time for the podcast, won well. This time got barrier 18. It could fly out of the gates and cross easier than what we think. Within the Law was impressive. Crown the King made up a stack of ground in Queensland. Huge run. I was looking at it thinking, this can't run second. This just can't, but it just flew. So $23. Again, it's a Waterhouse horse. That's massive value. Barrier 12, $23.06 for the place. Rivellino and Cobra Club are in the market, and they should be, but I mean, Cobra Club's 8, so that's sort of actually an outsider, but Rivellino at 480 from barrier 15 is probably not really great value. So yeah, each way number 14, Artistic Venture, and then a Quinella for 1, Cobra Club, 5, Crown the King, 9, Within the Law, 11, Open Secret, and 14, Artistic Venture. We'll do that. And then race 8, the money ran out. So we'll leave race 8 and we'll leave race 9 as well. That one of my favourite horses, Super Helpful, is going around, but won't back it this time. My super favourite horse of all time, over here, the That Cat, ran 3rd last night at Happy Valley and was paying $18, almost crossed from about barrier 11, led the whole way, was so close to winning. They just got it at the end, but love this horse. Ran third, $6 for the place, $10 each way. Got a multiplier on it, 1.1. Just can't go for a whole episode without mentioning it. So anyway, that's the racing covered. And then getting to NFL. On the other side here, let's have a look at our good friends Andrew and the Philadelphia Eagles. So same game multi is the way to go. I'm going to do the whole week. I sort of wanted to be on the Chiefs. I thought they've got the experience. They've been in the Super Bowl so many times. They always get it done. But something just felt wrong. Something felt... I mean, I'm going on intuition. This is just, there's nothing really fundamental here. I just saw a brief video of Jalen Hurts and his preparation for the match. And he just looked so poised and so calm. And I was reading about their preparations of coming up short just a couple of years ago. I feel like the $2 about them, about the Eagles, is value. So, 4-leg same game multi, Philadelphia Eagles, Saquon Barkley to be an anytime touchdown scorer, paying $1.55. Kareem Hunt, actually I'll skip him for the moment. So it's the Eagles, Barkley for the touchdown, Jalen Hurts for 175 plus passing yards. That was paying $4. It was a 3-leg multi that was paying $4. I just wondered if I added another short price leg, what would happen? And I was adding a few, I think, from the Philadelphia Eagles too, and it wasn't really boosting up by much. I was adding legs at $1.60 and it was going up to sort of $4.80 when it should have been at $6. So in the end, I added Kareem Hunt for 25 or more rushing yards at $1.20, and maybe he's a Chiefs player, but he's only paying $1.20 for that. And the odds went up from something like $3.10 to $4.70. It was massive. It was more than a 20% increase. So that was a much better prospect than just adding in like Hurts to get more passing yards. So got odds of about $4.75, which pushes us to what we mentioned at the start of the show for the $20 bet, getting around about that $90 back. So Eagles, Barkley, Hunt for 25, Hurts to 175 plus. That is the go. But I said back if we miss a leg. So aiming for some big winners this week. It's a great betting day on the Saturday, Super Bowl Monday. Let's see what happens, and good luck to everyone out there.
And then came Sweet Liaison as they turned for home. Jefferson, he's been in front every inch of the way. He's out like two.